It's time for Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here! Tonight, let us make them remember we are not afraid!
No fear, 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 no fear. Here on Declare Your Independence, me, Ernest Hancock, from the Southern Desert. You know, talking with John Whitehead from the Rutherford Institute. You know, John Whitehead is seen all over Freedom's Phoenix. I mean, he writes something, I bet you 90% of it goes up on Freedom's Phoenix because he's been following, you know, what's up. And it's what's up now. We want to know what's up with John Whitehead. Now, he has a recent novel. Now, he has a bunch of books. You'll see him, scrolling across the screen. We go to that. And the Eric Blair Diaries is one of the more recent ones, and it's a novel. It's not, I got all the bibliography of he did and they did and the footnotes of they did it and this guy's name, but a novel, the future, what we can look at. Now, why did you call it Eric Blair, John?
Eric Blair was George Orwell's real name. As a writer, he decided he needed to put up a different name, so he came up with the name George Orwell. But Eric Blair died writing 1984. He saw the future coming, and he was freaking over as he was dying in England. And as I read about his biographies, I saw, he would be even more freaked with the rise of what we're seeing on the internet now with the algorithms and all the digital stuff and the way the government's seeing everything we're doing. And as I'm seeing these drones fly over us now, and something I was really fighting against about, I'd say 12, 14, 15 years ago, saying cities, please pass some laws. And I got some cities to do it about the drones should not be flying over us, watching everything we're doing, because up for 2 miles up in the air, they can see our face and report us to the so-called police. Again, with what we're seeing today with the National Guard invading cities and all the stuff, and I mean, it's got to be really, really freaky, but I would say the Eric Blair Diaries are coming true. So if you want a good shot of what will be further in the future, not that much further, folks.
Really. Yeah, I mean, we're there. I mean,
We're there, so, I keep telling people that. We're there. And,
this is one thing. Let's get a quick introduction as these, you had so many here. When I was going to Battlefield America, I was trying to find that one. That was, damn, and I wanted to make sure that people understood that there is a concern of yours that you've gone through witnessing this, as a civil rights attorney. I don't know what else to call you. John Whitehead is an attorney and author who has written, debated, practiced widely in the area of constitutional law, human rights, and popular culture. Now, the Rutherford Institute, let's talk about that real quick, and then, I want to give a little bit more introduction on you. Go ahead and tell us about the Rutherford Institute.
Rutherford Institute we're a civil liberties organization. We're in like 8 Supreme Court cases at the present time. We're always fighting for freedom. I'm a constitutionalist. I was an Army officer, and while I was an Army officer, I had this feeling that I needed to do something that helped America more than just, training troops. So again, I went into law school and came out of law school, and just saw that there were certain things I could do. I thought if I just donate my time and money, that's what we do. We defend a lot of people, but we don't charge the clients. We protect them and their rights. And I irritate some people when I say I'm a constitutionalist because they don't like that term. They don't like the idea that I'm promoting free speech and I protect free speech and all that.
Heavens and Murgatroyd.
And the thing I say is, what the government doesn't want free speech either. The guy who wrote the First Amendment, James Madison, said we ought to mistrust all those in power. That's why they wrote it, because the government does not want you to think or to be someone out there who's really looking at things and going, "Oh, how can I make it better for freedom?"
They just want you to comply.
Yeah, but what it is, free speech makes you think. When somebody comes up and says, "I disagree with you," debate, debate, debate. And sometimes the debating will lead you to think further and maybe open your eyes a bit and see. And I'm so surprised today in a way, in many ways, but I know as I've analyzed what's happening in our educational system with they're not teaching the Bill of Rights effectively anyway. Mid school is not teaching it at all. They don't teach the Declaration of Independence, which, by the way, is a butt-kicking document, by the way. The people who started this country,
I'm a fan,
would be looking us in the eye right now saying, "You're idiots. We gave you all this. We were sacrificing our lives to give you a land of the free, a constitution, a Bill of Rights, and you're blowing it down the tube now. You're not standing up for your rights. You're just letting the National Guard go into cities and stuff, and they're private ICE agents walking up with masks on their faces, and they won't tell you who they are. And they're punching women down the street, hitting older people. Some 60-year-old man was pumped the other day and broke his ribs. This is not America, folks. This is not the America I grew up in. No. And when we're saying,
how intentional is all of this? I mean, do you see an intent?
Oh, yeah. I think it's, again, when the word deep state has been used a lot, and there is a deep state. People who want one thing, money. I'll never forget a senator, a well-known senator, I can't say who he was. He met with me once when I was in D.C. speaking. He pulled me aside and said, "Let's take a walk, buddy." I took a walk with him, and he said, "Hey, John, I just want you to know there's one thing that rules Washington, D.C., money. It's all about money, man." He said, it's all about, putting money in their pockets, becoming millionaires. They go into the office, many of them poor people, and come out millionaires. So it's all about money, and that's all they care about. They don't care about your rights. They want us to line up, salute them, move forward, and that's it. And what was really neat about early America was how the churches got in the battle too. The Black Regiment, as they were called, that was called an American Dream, where I go into the Black Regiment, an American Dream. And these are ministers who give up their sermons and then pull back their robes and have a rifle there. They were ready to fight. Don't have that today. I mean, a lot of the churches that I'm talking to are around the country, that they're calling it now Christian nationalism, whatever. Whatever Trump does, they believe like he's Jesus Jr. And it's not that way, folks. You don't have people in power usually that are really there to do your rights. And listen, as the country seems to be going broke, I mean, I don't know if you saw that party they threw at Mar-a-Lago for Halloween. Did you get a chance to see it?
No. Well, I saw some pic that there was, and Melania consoling some kid, all fluff crap. I don't know what happened.
There was a bunch of women wrestling like pole dancers. There was one in a big glass. I mean, it was stuff when I saw it, I went, Lord, I wouldn't want my children watching that. Who is really running the country? If you use your brain, open your eyes, you'll see the people running the country want to control you. They want your money, and that's basically it. They don't want people exercising their rights. They hate that. I mean, I've actually,
this is where I want to inject, a little bit about the character of John. This is what happened. January 6th, we did a show, guys in Washington, D.C. that I knew that were there supporting Oath Keepers. We've had, Stuart Rhodes on since he's been out just a couple months ago. Kind of summarized it. We should get him back on. This is the kind of stuff he was worried about too. And that show was going to be used as evidence for a lot of these guys that had been on my show and so on. And the FBI contacted me, and they want me to just sign it over. because you can't use an MP3, an interview, MP4, whatever, any digital stuff as evidence, because the FBI has been so unscrupulous in the past that they go, no, it's a rule, whatever the hell, you got to have the custodian, the person that did it, certify the file, or you got to bring them in as a witness to yada, yada, yada. So I was on the show, and I'm going, well, that's me voluntarily giving up my Fifth Amendment right. You're going to take this, and you can lay up a Louisville Slugger and wrap it in barbed wire and beat me over the head with it. I go, I'm not doing that. Well, this is what Owen Shorter, that's what happened. He cooperated, and they go, aha, well, we got that, and you said, and boom, you're going to jail. And I just go, no, hell no. From the beginning, I'm going, no, I'm good. Subpoena me. I'll comply with the subpoena. I'll do, I don't need helicopters, Hellfire missile in the bus on the road of whatever. So they had the FBI, we registered our tow Jeep at my daughter's, so they're banging on her door. Bam, bam, we know you're in there, come on, blah, blah, blah. And they call me, we know you're in there, come on. I go, I doubt it. I'm on the Columbian River up near the Canadian border in northeastern Washington. I don't see you. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. Where are you? I go, hey, where are you? They wouldn't tell me. And they give me, the street, and I go, you're at my daughter's house. I mean, you guys aren't FBI enough. I mean, you're just doing some government record, And, I'm sorry. Hey, guys, we're at the wrong place. Put down the battering rams. I mean, whatever. So I called my daughter later, and she has a little toddler at the time was there. And I go, did you hear him? She goes, yeah. And they kept banging and banging. I'm definitely not buying their solar panels. I mean, she just thought it was solicitor, aggressive, whatever. She didn't care. Because she used to be my producer for a couple of years. She knows what's up. She gets it. So finally I just go, well, tell me where to go. I can go to Spokane a couple hours. I can pick it up the FBI off. They go, well, we can email it to you or even text it. And I go, well, then do that. And they did. I replied, okay, we're good. I'm served. Okay, now what? Well, I ain't got a nothing. Well, finally it went to a hearing on Zoom, and every time they threatened me, I go, I'd call the FBI, travel, I'd book it. Okay, I'm there. They go, damn it. We wanted you to be afraid and call us and sign the thing. And so finally, right during the trial in December of 23, I guess it was. Yeah, I think so. 24. It was a couple years ago. They go, all right, boom. December 15th, I got to be during Christmas in Washington, D.C. I go up. Are you going to do Fifth Amendment? Yep. Got an attorney? Nope. I can say Fifth Amendment all day long. Don't got to spend any money. Well, they were not approval of that. They go, oh, we're going to get you an attorney. You can have one. We'll get you a federal. And I knew it was going to happen. They're going to go, Mr. Ernie's attorney, did you explain to him that, yes, I did. And he, well, go sit in the cell and think upon your sins. Well, I knew what was called in camera or whatever. They would, if they go, do you understand? No, I do not. Well, then the judge, without attorneys from the defense or prosecution, takes you into chambers and explains it to you. And what I wanted is what I was willing to do is if he threatened me, if you don't do this, I'm going to, under duress. Oh, we're going to Supreme Court now. Woohoo! That kind of thing. So that was my plan. Any attorney that I talked to, all of them, friends, criminal defense attorneys, they were counting on, their golf buddy of the, prosecutor from the U.S. Attorney, we're going to work out a deal for Ernie kind of thing. No, there's no deal. So what happened, when I get to Washington, James Bovard is a libertarian-minded writer, a good friend of mine, you know James.
Yep, I know, yeah.
And so when I go to Washington, I always hang out. We go, to the microbrewery and, plot saving the world. And I told him, I'm in Washington tomorrow night. After I do the court thing, you're going away forever, man. This is a kangaroo court of, oh my God. So he's freaking out. Jacob Hornberger calls me, everybody. And it was only John Rutherford that I said, Whitehead from the Rutherford Institute. I go, John, this is what's going on. He understood my point. He was the only one that was willing to defend. He had an attorney call me, a young guy. He's got one, evening, to do anything, or just to make everybody happy. I talked to everybody, but I could see what happens if you write any kind of agreement with them. They finally offered me a proffer. Okay, we'll say we're not going to use it against you. But that's the only time that evening For months, I haven't even looked at it. I didn't even care. Donna would print out and put in a file all their correspondence. That was it. When I did some research, once you enter a proffer, if you don't testify the way they want, they will just throw everything at you. You violated the deal. You weren't our bitch. And I go, you could kiss my butt. So when I get there, the court was closed. Nobody was there. I call, I go, hey, man, I'm here. Where are you guys? Well, we moved it to 1 p.m. from 9. We're going to whatever. You still going to? Yep, let's do it. I get in an Uber to go back to the hotel. They call me, never mind, you can go home. That was it. And I'm just this. And then later, they started getting all these talk show hosts and so on, putting them in jail for having cooperated with them. And the whole point that I'm making here, it was only John Whitehead and one other guy, Richard, he was an attorney that I know here from JPFO, Jews for Preservation of Firearms Ownership. He kind of understood and was sympathetic. But it was John that actually got somebody to talk to me, understood what I was doing. That's why we publish John Whitehead stuff. Because he understands as a constitutional attorney, this is where the Constitution is enforced. This is where it's the dissidents. It's the ones that say no. The people that know not to cooperate with these guys. This J6 thing was so, now of course we're finding out, but it was almost got away with a lot, but it's not over. Everybody thinks it's done. When Trump gets in and he starts doing this, we're going to do National Guard and, and pick up the trash in Washington, D.C. All cool stuff. Cool. Somebody's doing something. But how far are they going off? What should they have done other than what they're doing now? And when the Democrats, some millennia, they'll get back in charge, or anybody gets it, they're setting a precedent for the executive on a national level. And what people around the world learned during COVID is that each of the states are autonomous, or can be if they want to, and they go, nah, we're not complying with that. I bet you if you're in Germany, what? Washington passed a law and these states aren't doing, what the hell is that? They don't understand what federalism really is. And I just want people to understand the kind of person that you are and the perspective that you have to understand it's on the fringes where you get this. Now, remember one of your cases that really came to attention was when returning veterans from Iraq and so on have any comment whatsoever, they go take their guns or put them in an insane asylum for a 24-hour, 3-day, whatever. Think upon your sins. We think you're crazy. This is what was going on in the late 70s when I was a kid in junior high and high school with the Soviet Union. If you didn't believe the state, there was something mentally wrong with you. They were doing exactly that. So, John, spend a little bit of time on those cases. They were going after these veterans.
Oh, yeah. We had a number of cases where a veteran one veteran just wrote 3 sentences to a friend about firearms or something. The next day, 2 FBI agents were at his door saying that if he ever did that again, they were coming to get him and lock him up. So he came to us, and of course, we wrote the FBI and said, back off, you stupid jerks. Don't be doing that. And they do. Again, once they're outed, and know that you're going to fight them publicly, they get a little nervous. And we had one guy, a young veteran, who was just writing things in his home. This is like about 10 years ago, and in Virginia, and writing, things that he didn't like the Obama administration at the time. SWAT team raid, military agents showed up, FBI agents, jerked him out of his home and put him in an insane asylum, basically, mental institution. And we went into court and fought that and got him out. We saw a whole string of those. But again, most people were nervous and were saying, are you sure you want to help those people, I'm going, yes, I know. Anybody who speaks truth to power, there are consequences. If you look into history, if you're religious, you're Christian, Jesus Christ spoke truth to power. What happened to it? Bang. Whoa, dead. But anybody that gets out there and speaks truth is going to be watched by the government. And today now with AI, and I'm warning people. I wrote a book in 1986 called The End of Man when I first saw artificial intelligence. And a big executive at Google about a year ago quit and says, I'm not doing this stuff anymore. We're creating God. And what's happened is it's invaded almost every area of our life now. Everything. This program here, when you're watching TV, everything you're watching, on your phone, when you say a certain word. And I know people have told me this and said, you're right.
Sure.
I was talking about a certain subject, and about 30 minutes later, there was ads on my phone about it. And so they're watching everything we're doing. We're algorithms. And that's how the government views us today. We're just sort of things.
Well, give the numbers. You know, you came across how many, I think it was Virginia or something, how many people had they did that, you know, insane asylum threw you in kind of thing? The number just blew me away.
Yeah, I forget how many, but they were doing it. That's what I was saying is. And
tens of thousands. It was a lot.
the FBI has a long history of that. Again, we've written on this, and you published the article about the McCarthy era back in the 1950s, right after World War II. And most people don't know this. There was a program called Project Paperclip, in which a large number of Hitler's Nazis were brought into America. Werner von Braun, who ran NASA, was one of Hitler's sidekicks. It was amazing. When I learned this, I went, "You're kidding me!" And I had a NSA agent tell me, it was a lady, a female. She said, for a while there, she's older. She said, for a while there, some portions of NSA, it was hard to get people to speak clear English. They were speaking German. And she said we were kind of invaded by a mentality that was basically the idea that people need to be controlled, and we need a strong leader. And Hitler said it, fear is the way you control the masses. Make people afraid. Having the National Guard landing in Chicago on top of buildings with helicopters, throwing people face down, tying them. Fear, all of a sudden people are going, oh yeah, we'll support the government. We got to fight these evil people. And I've actually had some people tell me that, who support everything that's going on, whatever, they just, yeah, we got to get rid of those evil people. And I'm going, what evil people? It's the evil people who speak truth to power. People are saying, listen, we're ready to put our life on the line, not for just our freedom, but yours. And that's why I say we need more rebels in America. And what's a rebel? A rebel is somebody that cares about other people. They want to make sure that everybody has freedom, and they're willing to get out here and speak truth to power. But like I say, if you want to do that, folks, I think it's a great thing you can do. But we've got to get people, this idea of being the Constitution. When I use the word Constitution in front of people, they look at me like, what's that? They're not studying it in school. I talk to lawyers who can't tell me what's in the Constitution, the First Amendment, what's it for, and all that stuff. The Fourth Amendment guarantees that we have privacy in our homes. We don't know anything. If you don't know anything, you can't exercise your rights, folks. So I'm telling people, we have a pamphlet that will teach your kids their rights in the home. Start teaching your kids in their home and producing people who will say, I'm not putting up with this.
Now, what role does Battlefield America...
I'm going to fight you guys.
What does Battlefield America... You got a foreword by Ron Paul, Andrew Napolitano writes something. I remember Battlefield America came out. What was it you were warning that's here? I mean,
I saw it coming with all the armored vehicles that police were using at the time. The SWAT team raids, they jumped from 8,000 in the 1980s to 80,000 today. And they're doing SWAT team raids. I mean, we've helped a number of veterans who have been shot in their homes, things like that, by SWAT teams. And sometimes they go, oh, we're sorry, we were in the wrong home. Or we had a couple in Texas, by the way.
Do they ever fix their home that they destroyed? Did they ever, like, here's a check?
Nah, most of the time they will not do that. I mean, when you take them to court, you get it done, yes. But most of the time they don't care. They just go away. That's our job. Sorry, dude. See you later.
So when you say it's time for a second American Revolution, how does that demonstrate itself? What do you mean?
That means people knowing, but well, at least you got to start with knowing something about the Constitution and your rights and standing up for them. I mean, protecting them and then exercising them. I'm telling people that if we take over our local communities, and it's tough to get people even to do that, in some of your local towns, your small communities, your medium communities, and getting people together, creating civil liberties groups in your communities who believe in fighting for America, and going to the city council meetings. I mean, people are getting arrested in city council meetings today because they stand up and speak and disagree. Don't put up with that, folks. Fight back against that. And start groups that'll be there and teach a whole generation of people not only their rights, but the fact that they can get out there and fight for freedom. That's how the American Revolution started. But when you have large religious organizations basically saluting Trump like he was, like I say, Jesus Jr., I'm saying don't do that. There are no Jesus Juniors in power. They don't get to power that way. I'm sorry, folks.
Do you have anything good to say about the Trump administration? I mean, he's doing a lot of stuff, but I mean, damn. You know, what do you think?
Well, he has no regard. I mean, if you read, I tell people read it very carefully. His national security presidential memo, which he put out about a month ago, it's basically saying the Constitution's gone. You know, anybody that's anti-capitalist, anti-America, or anti-Christian, he said. What does that say? I mean, it's basically saying if you just disagree with America, you're anti-American. We can come get you, okay? And they have the power to do that, and they will do that, folks. Like I'm saying, we've defended many people that all of a sudden get a knock on the door, and there they are, the guards, and they're taking them away, and it's going to get worse. I mean, like I said, when I saw the National Guard, they're saying now they're going to privatize parts of the National Guard to be like private police. I mean,
whoa! Explain that.
Let me tell you about George Washington. He said, "Do not have a standing army on American soil." Why did he say that?
Because he knew. You know, and our Constitution only allows for 2-year funding of the military. You know,
Yep.
it's you know, it keeps having to come up for review. Well, they bastardize the system and do whatever the hell they want. And that was the one thing that I always default to. They go, well, Ernie, Mr. Tinfoil Hat, do you really think they, those won't leave us alone would do this or that? I don't know. Can they? If they can, they sure as hell want to. Well, you're starting to see it. So the solution is, vote harder. I don't see politics as the way. There's
vote.
something.
Vote, yes, but the problem with it's getting the cities and stuff to exercise their 10th Amendment rights. Again, people don't know anything about the 10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment says that local jurisdictions like states and counties and stuff can nullify acts of the federal government. That's why you have a Bill of Rights. And remember, when the Constitution was first passed, many of the they were radicals, the early colonists. They didn't like it. They said, where's our rights specifically? Patrick Henry, give me liberty or give me death. That's exactly, they were ready to fight over that.
Well, the signers of the Declaration, they all didn't do well.
They were willing to basically die for it, folks. They were willing to fight for it. And when I talk to people today, listen, if you don't even know anything about your rights, how do you fight it? They look at me like, what is that, And the Fourth Amendment, which says they're not supposed to go in your home unless they have a warrant or some really valid legal reason to knock on your door and even be on your front porch.
Because I got an M16, that's my reason.
What's that?
Because he got an M16. They're like,
oh, yeah. Yeah,
we win.
That's another thing. They don't like the Second Amendment. They hate it, and they're going to fight to block that. They don't want people having a right to have a weapon and protect yourself. And again, the founding fathers, the people who wrote this country, the radicals, so they said, hey, grab a gun and head out. The early pastors, the Black Regiment, grab your gun and fight for freedom, folks. And but the point is that, again, if you don't know your rights, like I say, go Rutherford Institute, go to our website, rutherford.org, and read about it. The fellow that I named the Rutherford Institute after, his name was Samuel Rutherford. He was a Scottish minister. He wrote a book called Lex Rex, which was the law of the prince. He said, and again, this is when England was really evil, smashing people's heads around the world where they controlled it, the British Empire. He said that the King of England was under the law, just like every American. Well, they were putting him to death, and he fought right to the very end. And when I saw who he was, I said, "Oh, a good person to name my organization after." He stood for truth till his deathbed, and that's the kind of people that change things, folks. It may not be right away, but you can change the world by getting up, standing and fighting your power. What they want you to do, and here's the key: the average American watches 150 hours of television a month or screen devices. We're addicted to our cell phones today. I go into restaurants, a family, parents and 3 or 4 kids are all on their cell phones. I want to go, hey, folks, let's talk to one another. You're talking to the government. The government runs the cell phones. If you see the people helping with Trump's new East Wing, you got Google, Amazon, Meta, all those groups. They were the same people who were sitting in the same row. Bezos, Zuckerberg, Musk, all sitting in the same row at Trump's inauguration. These are people that are funding the East Wing, helping fund it. That's the deep state, folks. It's money, money, money. For their money, they get special treatment.
What is Trump's end game? Is he trying? I have no idea. This, 4th, 5th, 6th dimensional chess crap. I have no idea what his real end goal is. What is it?
Oh, I think the end goal, obviously, Trump, I don't believe runs the show. No, he's not. He has some issues mentally and otherwise. When I see him sometimes trying to speak. The people running the show, and again, Biden was the same way. Most presidents have been run by, again, the so-called deep state, the people with the money below running things. The same people that were headed into Mount Weather after 9/11 that have bunkers all around the United States. And they built bunkers, by the way. They can go hide in times of crisis, but we don't have them, folks. Not for us. But we pay the bill.
Well, tell me about when Trump gets in and he says, all this time, which I old enough to remember, this is a Reagan thing, make America great again, and then Clinton started saying it, and then then we got a hat from Trump, and from the beginning, since the summer of 15, we've hit 10 years that we've been doing the Trump Report with Dr. Frank Tamburri and I. He's a big Trump fan. And I'm like, you're still voting? Yeah, you want to do a show every week? Fine. I can say you're still voting a bunch of times. I don't care. We've been covering it every week for 10 years. And it has been, I think Dr. Frank is starting to come around. He's like, damn, man, I'm telling you, this is what's going to happen. But everybody wants the strong executive to fix things. They want to delegate their personal authority to somebody or something or Team Jersey or something else to do it for them. That is the problem. That's what we were warned against. Quit doing that. Take care of yourself, your family, your own community. Defend your right. Annie, go get your gun. And when he was in his first term, he did the bump stock thing because of the Vegas deal. Guy, I'm going, he's just a pawn of, whatever. And the big influence, this is why I think we had the Charlie Kirk assassination. All of a sudden, when they start out in Israel and the influence that I have, oh, hell no, you're not allowed to do that. So Israel has been a thing my entire life. And now the youth is starting to, that maybe we shouldn't be doing that. This kind of smells of Nazi crap and no, we don't want certainly our money and all the wars we go fight for them and that kind of crap. And so then with Charlie Kirk gone, they think, we got a clear slate. We'll get the next Charlie Kirk will be ours. We'll fund us a bunch of Turning Point money and rise up this Nick Fuentes guy, yeah. And who the hell's Nick Fuentes? I look at him going, he's a kid. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. What is the support and the pumping up of this Nick Fuentes guy? What do you think of that?
I really, again, I don't know. I haven't studied that very carefully in the truth of the word. But I do know that you mentioned Israel. Israel has a very big impact on the politics in America.
Okay, when you say big, give me how big. I mean, what's it? Any and everything they want, or a little bit, or they're negotiating, or over time? I mean, how big an influence?
They've got a tremendous, basically whatever they want, they get. When you have a country that's killing hundreds of thousands of people, children included, and it's okay. All right, but I will say this: it's not okay, and that's what it allows monsters to do. And again, I'm not, some of my best friends over the years have been Jewish people, but and they too have talked to me about their feelings about the Gaza thing and killing and all that. But for whatever reason, they've had a tremendous impact on the United States government. And I would say basically, when you talk about the deep state, it's all one big show, basically. Money, these countries, that country, and it hasn't changed under Trump. It's just to me, it's gotten worse because Trump is basically saying to the American people that they really don't have any rights, and we're going to take them away. Other presidents have played the game, by the way, but he hasn't played the game that well.
Well, the Palantir with Peter Thiel, I just found out that they got the Five Eyes thing, where all sharing whatever crap they're doing. But the Thiel now is Palantir. That software and stuff has invaded Europe. I mean, it's in United Kingdom, and that's one thing. United Kingdom, where George Orwell was from. When Starmer comes out and says, "Neither will you be able to buy nor sell nor work or whatever without your mark of the beast." It is parallel in Revelation, and the Bible is just a John Rutherford book. I mean, it's good versus evil. The commonality between all of the bad guys, the villains, in the Bible, were just without love or compassion and kill the babies and whatever the hell. It's like the same mindset. And I think that's what really got me going. The Late Great Planet Earth by Hal Lindsey, like in the late 70s, really as a young man, I'm going, damn, well, I'll watch out for this and this and this and this and this and this and this over my life has happened. We're turning in, and with this debt, this debt, the economy is about ready to go. I, did private communication to my 4 children and their families, and I'm going, look, get out of paper. And I'm not talking just cash. I mean the dollar. I mean equity. I mean, they're going to take it. We have a article that's up today.
Digital currency is going to rule. Yeah.
Yeah. I have up today that, it's $200 and something trillion in derivative house of cards, just like the Big Short. It's going, and they're going to do bail-ins and say, it's all ours now. We set up the
mark of the beast. Yeah, mark of the beast. It's here. I mean, you're going to have to be showing. And Musk has actually talked about the implanting the nanobots into the head, actually openly talked about it. And there are going to be people who are going to jump at it and say, sure, because you're going to be able to connect directly to the internet and whatever, and you'll be very much like a robot. And he has that great quote, Musk, as he said, people won't get it until they see the robots coming at them down the street. And that's where we're at. Amazon now, 30,000 people does it say that being replaced by the robots? They don't be able to hire. 30,000 people are not be without jobs because the robots. Well, what's going to happen to the economy, folks? You better get ready. And I think you're right. Paper money, all the digital stuff, that's not going to save anybody or anything at that time. And the government will be everywhere on top of you.
Okay, I want to ask you this direct question. This is the question. I am of the opinion that stock market, he's all about the stock. Look at the stock market. He goes to UN, look at our stock market until there ain't no stock market anymore. So we had David Webb on a couple of times because I understood exactly what he was talking about, with the great taking, because they can. And behind the scenes, the UCC goes by the state in 94, they kind of finished what they wanted to do. When they start going bankrupt, they're going to take all your assets that you gave to some brokerage or whatever, and it's kind of not yours anymore. And this bail-in thing that they did in, God, where did they do it? Like Lebanon or something. 2 years you didn't have access to your money. You did it in Cyprus. They call it a haircut. Oh, it'll grow back. We're just going to take, half of your wealth. This is how they're going to try and balance. Then you got the Russians going. They're just doing stable coins to be able to bypass the obligation to pay back, whatever the hell. And them doing stable coins linked to the dollar, how stupid thing is that, That's just, digitizing it just like they did during 07, 08, 09, they made housing a number so that they could trade without having to change all the stuff at the state and county level with the who they enforce the property rights on, because they changed the paperwork. Well, they didn't change the paperwork. They just made it a number, trading it, and it all fell. Well, then they made a deal with the attorney generals. I mean, property rights is a big thing in America, and they're taking it away. It's already, this isn't going to happen. This isn't a book warning us by John Whitehead. This is happening right, not later. And people don't understand. Your 401k, IRA, pension fund, it's already spoken for. And if you don't get out now, right? I mean, are you of that opinion? I mean, you need to stack you some silver. Everybody's my buddy now. Woo, you silver, you called that. I go, this is just the beginning. Where do you think we are in this fall?
Well, I'll say this. Do you own your property?
Yep.
Where's the deed? Do you have the deed of your house?
We paid cash. We put it in a trust, but yeah, I know what you mean. The county
government
still
has
has
a deed in case you don't pay your taxes. They come get your house. It's always been that game that they've been playing, and we've allowed, again, the people before us have allowed it, and we're set in a trap now. And the trap is, we don't own anything. If they want to come get it, they'll come get it. Again, if you make the wrong turn, the police pull you over, and you argue with a policeman, and he slams your face down, and the police all there standing say, this guy was a maniac going crazy, and they can come, start go after your money, again, if you can't ante up in court. And that's what I'm saying is the only way we're going to protect the American people is the American people taking a stand and getting up off their butts, turning the TV sets off. If you think you're getting the news from those people on TV, run and hide. Woodward Bernstein, who outed Nixon, Carl Bernstein, said he was shocked when he went to work for the mainstream media, how many NSA, FBI agents were in there vetting articles and stuff. He said, it's government news, man. This is a qualified, and other journalists now come out and written books on it, that the government runs the news, and they're indoctrinating you in your head. And I have people who, when they watch like a Fox News or something like that, you can't argue with them. They say, you're an idiot. Yeah, you're an idiot because what's her name said this or that. And I'm going, okay, all right, if you believe what you want to believe. But the point is, make your own decisions, folks. Education precedes action. Like I say, a lot of good books out there. The Constitution, we've written on it. Go to our website at rutherford.org. Get educated on the Constitution. Teach your kids. I mean, people, I don't mind being, I've called myself a rebel. I'm a rebel. I rebel against government. And that's what makes life worth living. Otherwise, I'm like the local dog or something, or whoever out in my yard that can be taken away in 2 seconds and shot or put in a cage. Don't let the government treat you like that. You should be outraged at what they're doing today. When you have the President of the United States writing a directive saying basically you have no freedom, you say the wrong word, they can take you away. Well, what happened to the Constitution?
Well, what happened to the people? The United Kingdom is a really good example right now. If you know some people, like I have some contacts in Ireland, I have come on every now and then. We're doing another one this week. And the United Kingdom is demonstrating the heavy hand of, and they're trying to quash a lot of the, it's like the Canadian convoy trucker thing, and them going after people that, hell, forwarded the meme. I mean, this is just so bad. I don't know how many examples you need for these people to go, all right, John, yeah, you're kind of right. I mean, what are they blinded to? What do they need to get on board or understand that their rights are under threat? What is the psychology that we're up against?
Oh, I was in a family with a father who was a butt kicker, and he basically taught me that life was butt kicking. And I got some of it in school, but I had a couple of good professors basically in law school who actually taught the Constitution. But like I say, when I talk to people today and they look at me and they go, the First Amendment, I'm going, or do you know the rights in the First Amendment? Freedom of speech, the right to protest against the government. All these things are in the First Amendment. They kind of look at me and go, oh, I didn't know that. And when you have teachers saying that they're nervous about the Declaration of Independence because it's such a radical document, I'm going, wait a minute. This is the document that started the country. Without it, we wouldn't be here today. We'd be saluting British soldiers walking down the street who'd kick us in the head in 2 seconds. That's the difference. Education precedes action. Get educated. We've written some good books. There are other good books out there, and there are good people to follow around the country that are, fighting for it. And again, they don't like it. And the other thing, I warn people about this too. When you get in groups, the FBI has for decades, infiltrates those groups and tries to get them to do something stupid or whatever. They did it to the hippies back in the 1960s. They smoked dope and grew their hair long and tried to get the hippies to do stupid things so that their so-called rebellion of those times would be stopped. So just be careful, be wise, and if you get educated on those things, you can really look through certain people and go, wait a second here, who are you, man?
There's an article we had yesterday. It might still be on the front page. Yeah, here it is. They go, I don't know who this was. It was on Zero Hedge, Arthur Shapir. I don't know Shapir, but he goes, let the commie Mandani take New York City. Let them. Then they'll see what's up. We'll get a demonstration for, whatever. What do you think of that? I mean, it's like, how is he going to win? Then you got AOC is going to run for Schumer's position. I mean, there's a lot of signs that they're making headway, but people are becoming aware. How does this end, John?
Well, I think the only way how it ends is if you look at history, okay? And I keep, again, education precedes action. History has shown us from the Roman Empire, which is really cruel, all the way up through the stuff, Nazi, the communists and all that. And we're headed in the exact same direction right now, in my opinion. And again, it takes the people, we the people. And I keep telling people, how does the Constitution start? We the people do ordain and establish this country. We are the government, folks. The people in D.C. and local governments are our representatives. And quit stepping back and saying that's the government. No. We're the government. We're the government. Act like the government. Get involved. Get out there and speak truth to power. Even again, we help just couple local guys who project stuff onto a building in one town. 2 guys on a sidewalk. It was controversial, again at the time. It was only like 4 or 5 years ago. F Biden, F Trump, and they were threatened to get arrested. And again, they came to us for help. We fought the case and wanted on free speech. They had a right to say that. And again, they were saying, stop the government stuff, get out there and protect your rights. But they were willing to go to court, get arrested, put in jail for it.
Oh, hell, I don't do anything without the expectation that we're going to court. All my cases have been like a dozen. I've been to the Ninth Circuit, a few cases. I've argued my own oral argument, on election law stuff, and here locally, been to Arizona Supreme Court 3 times. And it's always me suing them for doing the same. And I set them up. I'm ready. I know what they're going to do, but they don't know what I'm going to do. But the thing is that once I found out that when you get a precedent, they only publish it if they want to. Yeah. I didn't know that. Explain that to me.
Well, they do what they want to do. Like I'm saying, they want to control the people. But the people who started this country were entirely different. And let me just read the opening sentence to the Declaration of Independence. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it and institute new government.
Yep.
Oh, folks.
And that's why
people say, "What's an inalienable right?" We're given these rights from the Creator, and I agree with that. Unalienable means non-transferable. In other words, even when you don't exercise them, you still have them. It's up to you. You can do it. You just got to do it.
Okay, watch this. This is fun. I was doing this before. You go to the Declaration of Independence at the National Archives. You click on it. Oh, I'm sorry. The shutdown of the federal government, and you're not allowed to something, right? So I'm going, oh, give me a break. So I guess the Declaration doesn't apply when they're not paid. You know, one thing that you did this, you know, the purpose, to sum it up, it goes, the purpose of any government. This was a decade before the Constitution, Bill of Rights. They go, the purpose of any government is the defense of individual rights. When it doesn't do that, it's time to alter or abolish. It's your right. It's your duty. That's basically what it says. And I go, sign me up. I go, I'm down. That's why it's declare your independence. Last week, my wife and I were watching one of our two grandsons, for our daughter went on a trip and for a birthday with her husband, and he helped with their homework. And what do they come in with? He has a glossy magazine type. It's only like 6 pages, okay, 8 pages, and it was the entire Revolution, Declaration of Independence, all, you know, and this little pamphlet. And then, of course, they want them to answer questions from the pamphlet and whatever. And I'm going, all right, well, let's go over it. And I'm like, wow, they're just, you know, say this, say that. And it was not really understanding what this was and how important this document was. So to get his attention, I show him my logo, Ernest Hancock, you know, they have Declare Your Independence with Ernest Hancock. And I go, look, the big signature at the bottom of this, John Hancock, and my kind of favors his. And I go, you see, I'm telling you, I know what this thing is about. So I go, we'll just go over the preamble of the Declaration of Independence, and then, you know, you can ask questions. Just let me read. And, you know, he's 10, 5th grade. He's South Park kid. You know, this is how that's why I understood they have junior high, 7th and 8th grade. And the reason is that's when they're starting to go through puberty. That's when they start doing social studies. I'm just a bill. This is how they try to formulate, you know, the default position, you know, for you as you're growing up and your mind solidifies through puberty. And it's the age that they do the Hitler Youth and the Stalin Army or whatever the hell. It's during this time when they're starting to have the hormones flow and they get them set in concrete of where they're going. You can see it happen. So this rise of homeschool, the rise of getting more involved, the going, talking to the school board, well, that is a waste of time. Freaking just yank the kids out. You don't need Uncle Sam babysitting your kids. Quit delegating this authority to everyone. So this is what they're changing. This Marxist revolution thing, when Yuri, what's his name, the KGB, you know, comes in the early 80s and says, look, I can tell you what's going to happen. This is how we're going to do it. And they're doing it. And it's right in front of us. And the internet is there seemingly forever. Hopefully, you know, people will say different stuff, which is what we're doing. But do you think AI is a double-edged sword to the state, that we're going to be using it? We're going to be making funky memes, good videos, having fun. The activists, you know, sign wars. That's what the revolution was all about. Sign everywhere, sign. And how long can we keep Ron Paul up on that podium? Oh, we get to do it again? Okay. They didn't see that coming. And now when you have Grok, you know, Elon pinky swears that it's a truth-seeking engine kind of thing. Well, at least they're saying it. I mean, you know, we're going through that. Do you think AI is going to be a useful tool for activists, or throw the baby out in the bathwater because it's Rosemary's Baby? I mean, you know, what do you think?
There may be a possibility of infiltrating it. Again, there are. I think that there is a possibility of that. The problem is that most people, it's going to be a small group, because most people are falling totally in line with what's going on with these chat box things with kids now today, chat bots and stuff, and kids are talking to, supposedly, and some doctors and scientists are worried they're talking to AI like it's their best buddy. They're sleeping with it and stuff like that. So it's it's taking a different direction than those people ever thought it would be. And it's good that we have programs like this because we can be raising the alarm, and people need to study it and be very careful. And again, there may be a time when we can actually do that, alter AI. But the problem is if Musk is right, and AI becomes the total controller, which he's suggesting, and Google, that Google executive quit years ago, he said we've created God. It's actually making its own decisions now. And I'm afraid that is the direction we're going into, folks. And we got to be really.
Well, this statement that Musk said, he goes like this. He goes, "We're going to have Neuralink interface with AI is the only way that we're going to be able to combat it."
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, well, there's that, but that's you first. I mean,
Yeah, I think it'll be really into your head. Yeah.
Well,
it's a revelation. You're right. It's the mark of the beast, and the beast is here.
Okay, now that's one thing I wanted to make sure we got in before the end of the show. I know you got to go, but the idea that we have agency, that we can really make our own decisions. We wake up in an anarchist world of what time you wake up and what you eat and kind of whatever. But there's heavy influence. There's heavy, you're doing it wrong. There's, put on your freaking mask, that kind of stuff. Well, a lot of that after, God, my lifetime, Watergate, oil embargoes, you have the savings and loan crash, you got Ruby Ridge, Waco, Oklahoma City, 9/11, the Big Short, we have, what's coming now. I've been through this. It's a pattern. That's why they call it revolution. It just keeps coming around, and it seems that with the fourth turning, or whatever you want to call it, here we go. But we have information and alternative viewpoints that are the threat. Well, now, Elon buys X and whatever less censorship he's got there, so on. But around the world, I remember when Iran shut off Twitter and Facebook. I remember when I first started doing radio in 2003, the entire country of Libya got their internet severed. You see the signs because they can.
Yes.
Until they can't. What is the can't part?
Well, the can't part would be whether there are people who are ready and waiting to figure out a way to break it down. And they'd have to be extremely knowledgeable. And they'd have to be careful because if they in any way outed themselves, my feeling is they'll have the government at their door or waiting for them out on the street somewhere. The warning is with this National Guard stuff and now moving toward a privatized National Guard force, which is what they're talking about. They're doing that for a reason.
Wait. Explain this privatized National Guard thing. What the hell are you talking about?
Well, there's been some rumors. There's been a few statements by government officials that they can actually privatize the National Guard and turn it into like a police to assist local police. But the problem with that, as I've argued, is I was in the Army. I was like a second lieutenant. I trained troops. Is that you're trained when you go into battle that the people you're facing are combatants. And that's how they're starting to view the American people. We are combatants. And once you get in the combatant syndrome, they'll line you up in the streets at some point and may start shooting us down.
This sounds like Pinkerton detective thing.
It's getting very, very far out, folks. And again, I keep telling people it's right around the corner. If there's something we can do, there's only one thing you can do. Be a human, learn your rights, stand up for freedom, like I said, get your neighbors together who understand you. But listen, again, talking to some of the neighbors and stuff, they look at you like, you're crazy. But you're always seen as a weirdo. Listen, if you speak truth to power, you're always seen as somebody who is, they'll call you a rebel. And I keep saying that a rebel is someone, I care about your freedoms, buddy. That's why I stand up for truth.
The reference to Pinkerton detectives, when they had a lot of union strikes against, they, them, those that had, might have been an Amazon warehouse, whatever, and they're on strike and they bring in guns, hired private institutions. Pinkerton detectives were like a police force for hire. And this was the turn of the century, kind of time, early 1900s, late 1800s, so on. And that's what this smells of. And, when those are threatened, they just give $40 billion to, Argentina so they can get their buddies paid off kind of thing. I mean, this happens all the time. And I see the internet as an archive. The truth is out there. You got a truth button on your keyboard, but you got to push it. You got to want to push it. You got to even care about the truth. So that's why the Grok thing. At least the pinky swear if somebody even said it. I mean, okay, whatever. But we'll see. The truth will set us free, or it'll just justify our incarceration. I mean, what is it that you think needs to be done now? Because we have this police state that we keep warning about. This is how it manifests itself. And you look in the United Kingdom and around the world, and it's coming to the U.S. When I saw in Afghanistan, they're doing retina eye scans of all men, 18 to 70, whatever. They're doing retina. I go, you think that's not coming? Then you got, what's his name of OpenAI? What's his name? Well, it doesn't matter. He's up there with this world currency coin, world coin globe. You look into a sphere. Really, it's like a little globe. You get your eyes, and you get some free stuff, and you join the club, and kind of, wow. And then what does Gates come out and say? Hey, out of inconvenience, you're going to be outside of the system if you don't comply. We're gonna. It's here.
Well, listen, let me quote Henry David Thoreau, the great thinker. He said, "Disobedience is the true foundation of liberty. The obedient must be slaves." So you got a choice, folks. Either you stand up for truth and freedom, be disobedient, or you salute the emperor.
With your mask.
Exactly. It's coming. And that's your decision. And the only reason we have freedom in America is we have people who said, I'm willing to die for freedom, and I'm going to do it. As Jefferson said, I'll quote him, rebellion to tyrants is obedience to God.
And every 20 years, we need to water the liberty tree with the blood of tyrants and patriots kind of thing. This is, it's a responsibility, and I'm wondering where that originates. And before you go, I want to do this. I haven't done this with you. But a lot of people that I have on, like, Whitney Webb, she comes on, and of course she wants to, explain everything that she knows. And I go, our audience kind of gets it. What I'm really interested in is why you're doing this. Where did you come from? A young woman, so that show is unique. It's not on all of the conspiracy. What I'm going, why do you care? What grandmother, teacher, coach, young employer, uncle, whatever, that made you, you even gave a crap? Why you? John, I just need to understand there's some secret sauce there. If we can replicate that, if we can, get your grandma to talk to everybody, I mean, what was it that sent you on this path?
Well, what set me on this path was people like Samuel Rutherford and the great thinkers of the past. When I read them and understood them, and I became a Christian in 1974 and saw right away that the society around me didn't really believe in the freedom that I thought it did. And I said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to start an organization that will stand up for freedom and not back down. And
but why did that resonate with you? See, these are all actions, but there's a motivation. There was a revelation. There was a time. I mean, why did you even read the book? I mean, how did you even know this guy existed? What was the impetus for that?
Oh, Francis Schaeffer, who was a big thinker of my day, great theologian, had mentioned that, and I started studying him and found out that many of the people in England, by the way, had his book in their library. And Jefferson, by the way, had basically read it. So, and I saw, what an influence. You can have an influence. And again, this guy had a tremendous influence. That's why I named the Ruffin Institute after him, because he said, all people under the law, that includes the government, the tyrants. And they didn't like that. So they were going to kill him. And he died on his deathbed. And when he was dying, he looked up at the people and said, I go today where priests and kings cannot go.
Wow. Before you go, I need a final message to the audience. You saw all his books. You see, Battlefield America was kind of here it comes, and then you have your novel, George Orwell's real name, and it was. What are you afraid that's going to happen, and how certain are you that's the future? See, that's the reason why Freedom's Phoenix, from the ashes of Lady Liberty's torch, Freedom's rebirth, Freedom's Phoenix. That's what this is about. We came up with this decades ago, and the reason is I could see the rebirth was going to be from ashes. Well, here come the ashes. How's it going to manifest? Humanity keeps marching on, but we got to go through some crap first.
Well,
always do
first, and there's shows like yours here that provide a sense of hope. And I keep telling people, speak out, don't shut up. And if they're going to tell you to shut up, they're going to make fun of you sometimes. But I've gone through all that. I just say, hey, you can make fun of me, but listen, I agree with Samuel Rutherford. When he was dying, I go where priestly kings cannot go. So he was saying, F you. I'm going to fight for freedom even after I die.
There is just last night we put up a story that I think this is where it's going, and it's 223 trillion. People can't even comprehend how much that is. It's the world, derivative crisis as U.S. banks prepare for bail-ins. They're going to take our money. That's why I'm saying get out of paper. Yeah. When I say paper, maybe have some cash on hand, but I mean, if you think your wealth is on some computer screen or paper printed out or this is what you have, nope. That's stinking thinking.
That's what that big congressman told me in D.C. They want your money. That's it. And if you've ever seen the movie, there's a good movie that prophesied all this called They Live by John Carpenter. It's all.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It basically says, they live, we sleep. Well, why do they live? We sleep. Wake up, folks, and fight for freedom.
They Live is it's a, B sci-fi movie kind of thing, but it was a cult classic. And the reason was this. We're saying, look, you don't understand what's really going on behind. You put on these special sunglasses and you see all the subliminal everything, obey, comply, obey kind of thing. And it's not like we haven't been warned.
We've been warned, yes.
It's the motivation. See, that's why outliers such as yourself that are in this battle. What's the secret sauce? What was it that inspired? Is it a character trait? Was it your environment? Was it the circumstance? There's something that if I could bottle that, it'd be all over.
The thing that motivated me originally, as I became a Christian, was reading about Jesus and what a butt kicker he was. And he didn't give up. He just, he didn't do anything nasty or violent or anything.
Just said no.
He just said, I'll stand up for freedom. And what they do, they put it, they hung him. They crucified him. And that's happened to the great people throughout history that have fought for freedom. And it's going to happen, folks. That's one of the dangers of being a freedom fighter. And like I say, speaking truth to power has its consequences. And, get out there and do it. But also, I will say this, I agree with Rutherford. If there's a place beyond this, a heaven or whatever, when you go there, I think they're going to go like this. Come on through the door, man. You did a pretty good job. Thank you.
And all those politicians need not apply. I'm looking at solutions. I do a regular show every other week for years with James Corbett, and he has a lot of good, documentaries on, you can understand. So we created a site for him. It's called opensourceeducation.online, and it features a lot of this so you can understand what's really going on. But I'm like, the solution for me is, it's not voting. I'm an activist. It's not like I'm afraid to, get my name on. If you're going to be on a list, be on top of the list. It's safer there. That's what I'm just saying. But and you're on top of the list. So one of the things is just, occupy the land. I'm just, grandma, grandpa, parents, somebody's got an acre, will get you out of the basement, will give you an acre or 2 or 5 or whatever. Go forth and, be somebody. And you'll see this tiny home, living out of your van, on the land, homesteading. This is really a growing thing. Is that a solution, or do you have to engage, or is it just you're waiting out when you guys get it all taken care of and it settles down? We're out here being free, and I just don't want people to centralize anything and delegate their authority to Team Jersey, whatever the hell. Educate your own kids, grow your own food, source your own water, build your own house. I mean, that is, and it gives you such freedom in options. So I'm really, what do you think the solution is? I mean, you're understand. I mean, people should what? Go yell at the politicians and your county supervisors? What should we do?
I won in 1979. I won the first homeschooling case in the country, and the reason I did, I fought for it. And I was called stupid during the day. It started the homeschool movement. I thought it was time to get kids into environments where they could learn their freedoms and
Amen.
And enjoy their families, all that stuff, and not be a vehicle of the state. And that's it. You just have to, I had a father who moved me forward, and DNA or whatever it might be. But again, it's the solution is taking action yourself and talking to other people, getting together with people, having dinner with them. And again, if you can take over your local government, you can start exercising the 10th Amendment. There are a lot of things, but here's the key. Like I said, go to our website, rutherford.org, learn the Bill of Rights, read the Constitution. They don't know it. And there are all kinds of options there in the Bill of Rights to things you can do, and you can control it. But if you don't know your rights, you're finished. So,
where do they go on your site to find these things?
Yeah, go to, they're listed there, yeah.
Okay. Now let's talk. I want to. How are you funded? I mean, I'm sure you have donations or whatever. Do you have any
donations?
Well, do you get any kind of money? You win a case, you get attorney fees or anything?
We get the money back that we put into it if we win a case, but we don't. No, we don't profit off any of that. No. Occasionally we have, but it's people who see us and decide, hey, this is the way we can help for freedom. And they donate to us, and it really keeps us going.
This is what keeps you going spiritually, emotionally. What support? It's worth doing this. And your wife is like, damn it, John, I want my house built out in the desert. You pinky swore of whatever the hell. I mean,
the life forces, we're a team. We do our commentaries together, and we both believe the same things, and we're a team.
Yeah, as are we. That man, it always helps to have support at home. This is a thing. This is what's the best way people can support you? They just donate. Is it a monthly thing? What is it that keeps you going?
Donation page that you showed there, and donate monthly, and people leave us money in their will, stuff like that. It helps keep us going. Otherwise, it'd be very difficult.
What's some of the cases you're on now? Do you have any in court now?
Oh, we're fighting a case, the Portland, with sending the National Guard into Portland and places like that. We're in a bunch of cases dealing with, especially the National Guard stuff, and then with the government, all the stuff they're doing on the internet and stuff, and fighting back against that. And our commentaries are one way we fight that, because that educates people. And like I said, if you don't get educated, the government does not want you educated. They want you to be putting your hand up and going, Heil, we want to support the government.
Well, what do you think, Trump, in the times that we have now, and you get communist elected mayor of New York City and proud of it, with AOC standing there doing, do you just let it go? Are we just, all right, it's going to be some states you move, everybody, leaving the coast and going to Texas, Arizona, and Florida? Because here in Arizona, it's a booming, but a lot of the homes that they're building are not for sale. It's for Black Rock, Black Stone, Black somebody, is there buying it all up and renting it out. You'll own nothing and here's your happy shot. That's what's coming. So what do you think should be done? Is it has to be a decentralized effort of the people just wake the F up and wait until it's a food thing, because it always is a food thing. Here we go, So how will it manifest itself to where you think people are starting to see an existential crisis against Americans? It's soon. I mean, how long we got to wait?
Well, we don't have any time to wait, in my opinion. Now, either fight now or give it up. It's going to go. I mean, with AI, it's moving so quick, and we have a president who is not really concerned about the Constitution. So, but again, I say, the Constitution starts with we, the people, who ordain and establish this country. It's up to us. We've been sitting on our butts watching TV. I'm telling people, give us 1/3 of those hours you're watching TV and get involved in your community fight for freedom.
Why aren't they?
People are generally lazy, and the government knows that, and they make them lazy. And but if you put freedom in your heart, if you put it in your children's heart as young people, they'll probably exercise it the rest of their life, like my dad did.
Which is why I think the attack on Christianity is such a global thing. It is, and of course the politicians go, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," But then of course anything that they, advocate for freedom using the Bible, "Oh, you're a crazy person." And this happened during the Clinton administration with Janet Reno and them. They went after Christians openly. Waco, we were justified because they were Bible believing. Obviously we got to kill all those children. I mean, that kind of thing. And I'm just, wow. You have to be old enough. And my children that were born in the mid-late 80s, grew up with this. They have an awareness. They're fine. They'll be, some of the Freedom's Phoenix people. And that was kind of our idea, my wife and I, was that this was not for us or even our kids. It was for our grandkids, because I knew this was going to come to a head about.
That's why I tell people, if you're concerned about your children today or your grandchildren, teach them the Bill of Rights. Start getting them indoctrinated into that, and instead of state, power. And that's the future of freedom, folks.
And that's with my grandson. We were going over that. I had his attention. It was, he's okay. Well, that's kind of interesting, and stuff. But then the next day he goes and he answers the questions the way they want. Boom, they're on to the next subject.
No,
and it's so, when they say make America great again, I never got an answer what that meant. America what? America geography, America in her interest, America Inc., America. What the hell does that even mean? What do you think they mean?
I think it's a slogan. Make America great again is getting people all together in the same bowl to support a dictator. They're doing
all right. Make some prediction before you go. Here we go. This last question. What do we look for to see that the fall is imminent? Is it the bail-in? Is it the troops on the street? Is it the...
you're going to see more troops on the street, depending on if the people actually rise up, you're going to see troops on the street. They don't want that. They don't want any kind of rebellions going on. But like I say, the First Amendment allows you to do that. And again, exercise your rights, Noel. I'll be carrying the pamphlet. We had a fellow that we represented, and he was on the street rebelling and holding a sign. The police pulled up and said, "What are you doing out here?" And he said, "Oh, let me read you the First Amendment." He read it to the police. The two cops looked at him and said, "We get it." They jumped in their car and drove off. He won.
We see they want civil unrest for whatever reason. So here we have the SNAP program, the food stamps. And here, our governor, Katie Hobbs, which, shouldn't have been, whatever, here in Arizona. Each of these states, certainly the blue ones, are creating their own replacement money they don't have for something, providing kind of keep the people fed, vote for us. What kind of impact do you think that's going to have? Or Trump was threatening that they're going to pay it somehow or get some money or a little bit of something, and the Democrats hold. What the hell is going on with this shutdown? What's really going on? Just to support illegal immigrant voting? I mean, I don't understand the end game on this.
They want people brought down afraid and nervous and begging for government help. That's all they want. They want you on your knees. They don't want you dropping to your knees to support a divine God. They want you to drop down on your knees to support a non-divine government. And that's what government is. It's government with a capital G. And again, like I said, I don't believe any of that. So just, again, stand for freedom, folks. That's all we have. Okay?
All right. Well, we look at the news. I hadn't even checked it this morning, really, but, is the SNAP funding done? Are they gonna? It's Monday. Your card's not funded, or it is? I don't know. Do you know?
Yeah. You never know with the government. It can be zip, especially under the Trump administration. So,
one thing we did, some research on it just a little bit, and it came up this way. When Doge went in, they found out that they had all of these Social Security numbers, even though they may not have access to just Social Security that was going to any and everybody, and it just kept repeating, and they shut that off. But the Social Security number is what is required for them to get all kinds of other benefits, all other stuff that they're doing. So he's going, yeah, this is the beginning of the fraud, but it's not just food stamps, EBT payments or credit card or whatever. It's housing. It's, medical care. It's, it's gazillions of dollars to support an infrastructure of people that often are illegal here to keep the Democrats in power. Do you think that the sentiment of the American people has turned against socialism and they're just not allowing it to manifest itself? Or do you think the people are still Sieg Heil to whatever?
I think it depends, again, on what happens. They love crises, okay? It depends on the crisis.
Can't let it go to waste.
Yeah, they can't let it go to waste. So watch out for crises. Like 9/11, go through it all. There's a reason you have a lot of that stuff happening, and it is to control the people, because fear, like I said, is what Hitler said, how you control the masses. Don't be afraid.
Fear, no fear, no fear.
No fear. Stand up for truth.
John, thanks for spending extra time with me. I appreciate it. I know you're limited on time, but I just wanted people to get reintroduced to you because you predicted all this and you've been in the fight. And you were one of the few attorneys, everybody that I knew that kind of understood, what we were afraid of, what I wasn't willing to comply with, what I'm just not afraid. At some point, you take all this evidence that they're coming after you, and you just got to surrender to God's will and just faith in freedom, kind of bring it. Not going to make them, I do all the Sam Kinison thing. You just want to make them, say it, son bitch, say it. Well, they're going to say against you. I go, yeah, but I'm going to make them say it.
Madison, who wrote our Bill of Rights, said, we ought to mistrust all those in power. If you don't live by that, you'll always be a fool. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for coming on. This is when you got something inside you want to make sure you get out, you let me know, because I want to make sure. Of course, for everything you write, we put up, but behind the scenes, there's always a little something. I do you a favor and a solid. You did me. So thank you for being you, John Whitehead, and it's always a team effort with a wife. I'll vote on that. So you give her my props too. Because Donna definitely deserves it. Peace, brother. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, sir.